Hello everyone, let's wait for 30 more seconds and we will start. Okay, I think slowly we can start. So for those who are not here, they will simply join during the presentation. So it's great to see you. Today it's our last webinar of a series with Liberty around South America. So we are about to finish the series with Brazil, the great destination. At the moment a bit tricky destination, but I will tell you a bit more about the facts and figures because we only have, I think, one side of the story from our media. So Thais will give you some more details and opinions as well. And also, I've been working with Thais for a while, actually from the beginning on when I started in Liberty, and she's in charge of mice products mainly, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Exactly. So whenever you have any mice products or mice requests, she will be a person, mainly she is a person responsible for this part. As always, whenever you have any questions, feel free to ask during the presentation, at the end of the presentation, and I hope it will be an informative around 30 minutes. So now I pass my voice to Thais. Thank you very much for joining, and let's start.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Hi, Michal. It's really nice to be here to have the chance to talk a bit about our country. And as Michal was saying, we are part of Liberties in South America. And if you didn't have the chance to see one of our webinars from last week, I would highly recommend you to ask Michal for the link because they're really interesting. So today we're going to talk about Brazil. And first of all, I think it would be important to go to talk a bit about our current situation regarding COVID and everything. And one important thing that I have to tell you is that first of all, it's important to understand that Brazil is a really huge, huge country. So it's really complicated to compare it with, let's say, Italy. We see the media, at least here. I'm not sure if the news are exactly the same in all the countries, but at least here we see people say, Brazil has more deaths than Italy. And first of all, for me, it's a bit sad because it looks like it's a championship where they are trying to look for who are the worst countries and everything. But beside this fact, it's important to understand that Brazil has almost 30 times the size of Italy and 4 times the population of Italy. So comparing absolute numbers, it's really complicated. So to try to have an idea of the real situation, if you put together like Portugal, Italy, Switzerland, Spain, Belgium, and if we put all these countries together, we have the same population as Brazil. 3 months from the first case of COVID in these countries, they had about 88,000 deaths. In Brazil, 3 months after the first one, we had 30,000 deaths. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. And definitely we all wish that it had never happened. But it's important to understand how things are, because when you just talk about numbers, it seems like it's we are comparing the same things, and we are not comparing. And one thing that happened in Brazil, unfortunately, I have to say that I'm sad to say that, but we have to think about political corruption. And one of the things that we are seeing in the local media is that some of the majors of the city and some of the governors of the states, they are putting the numbers higher. I mean, there are some cases, some people that didn't die of COVID, they say that it was the cause of the death. Why? Because every time the state or the city has more cases, they get more money from the federal government. So this is really sad, but it really changes all the numbers, you know? So it's complicated for us to understand exactly the numbers. because we already see that some majors and governors, they are changing the numbers to make it higher, because as more chaos they have the chance to get more money from the federal government, and also they have the chance to buy without bidding. So they can just pay, let's say, $50,000 for a thing that's supposed to be $5,000. So I mean, it's sad for us to say that, but it's corruption is something that happens. And unfortunately, it also reflects in what Brazil is, what people is hearing about Brazil all around. So this is one of the facts that we are facing here. And I mean, this is, on the other hand, what I have to say is, things here started after Europe. So when most of the countries in Europe were already in quarantine, here in Brazil, we had the first cases. So it's also quite normal to understand that now we are in the peak, while most of the countries in Europe are already living their regular life. I mean, things are already opening, and we are reaching the peak probably this week. This is what the experts say. And actually after that, the case is supposed to decrease. So we think that from next week, the case should decrease and things should get back to normal. Most of the cities already finished the quarantine. Pretty much the bigger cities like Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, we are still keeping that in a flexible way, what means that if we have the chance to stay home, like we can work from home. So in our trade, we are doing that. But for people that must, go to their stores or to their factories and everything, they are already working. So we do not feel, I mean, if we go to the streets, if we go to the supermarket, if we go to the pharmacy, we do not feel any chaos. We do not feel like there is corona all around and things are really crazy around. No, we are just, we are living probably what you lived like, I don't know, 1 month ago or so, when, the disease exists, but it's not like a chaos all around. People are living their pretty much regular life, as much as we have a regular life nowadays all over the world. Everything's crazy. So this is what is the internal situation that we have by this moment, okay? And talking about borders, the borders are still closed, and we do not have a date yet, but they should open from July. So from July, the borders should open. The air companies, they are working, I mean, but of course, by that moment, also for international flights, we have companies working, but of course, by that moment, they are only taking Brazilian, because since the border is closed, they are not taking anybody else. But the companies are working, and they should get back to their regular business from July and August. This is what we have as an information by that moment. Of course, if we have any update on that, we'll be happy to share with you. But this is what we have as a current situation right now. I'm not sure if I was able to be very clear or...
Yeah, very clear, but can you tell me a bit more about the measurements itself that the government has taken to fight pandemia? Because from what you've said, it looks like it's pretty flexible in terms of the citizens' approach.
Right now, I mean, from when we had the first cases, it was in March. When it was in March, there was that was when the governors, the federal government and all the local governments, we started the quarantine. So by that moment, it was really, really strict. So only like supermarkets and pharmacies were open, and all the other business were closed. Everything else, besides supermarkets and pharmacy, they were closed. And some cities, they had the lockdown, where you have, to check your ID number to go out, and you can only go out in some days of the week and everything. Some of the weeks didn't have lockdown, but all of the cities had the quarantine. And this was from March. And since the beginning of June now, I mean, from a week ago, that was when it started this more flexible way, when some stores, depending on the city, and they had some criteria to allow them to open.
I see. Okay, perfect. I think it's clear. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. So I think slowly we can move to the presentation of the product itself.
Mm-hmm. And okay, so here, I'm going to apologize. I'm just going to close my camera because my connection is not very good today. So I'm going to close my camera to continue with the presentation. And after all, we'll be all together again, okay?
Sure.
So here we have part of our team. Our office is located in Rio de Janeiro, Copacabana, really nice address. And one of the things that I really would like to say today is that I'm really happy to be talking to Poland. You know, you are one of our biggest markets. Thank you very much. We were always happy to have your groups here. We always have such a good time. We really feel like we have kind of a similar perspective of life because, you know, we like to have fun and of course things work, you know, we are professional here, but after all, people are so nice and I'm really happy to be talking to you today. And one of the things that I'm really curious about is that many of our clients in Poland, they speak some Portuguese and it's really kind. We love that because sometimes we have the chance to speak to them in Portuguese. It's really nice.
Yeah, actually, it's pretty common that people use maybe Portuguese not that much, but Spanish, yeah, I would say that it's pretty common.
Yeah, but we have lots speaking Portuguese, I have to say. It's really nice, really nice. Yeah. So here is just for you to have an idea. Of course, you already know, but as I was telling you in the very beginning, Brazil is a huge country. It's a continent-sized country. It takes pretty much most of the part of South America. That's why I was telling you it's complicated to compare with small countries because it's really huge. And we have most of the main airlines coming to Brazil. We do not have direct flights from Poland, but we have flights from France, from Germany, from the main hubs in Europe. So we have direct flights to Sao Paulo, to Rio de Janeiro, and from some cities, from some countries, some from Portugal, from Italy. We have some flights directly to the northeast of Brazil as well. So the flight connection is quite good. Today, I'm not going to talk about hotels because we do not have enough time. So it's important to understand that in Brazil, we have, of course, many kinds of hotels. We have the main chains of hotels. We have Fairmont, Four Seasons, Sheraton, Marriott. They are all in Brazil. But I'm not going to go through hotels, through properties today, okay? Today, I'm going to talk mainly about what we call the main destinations for MICE. Why? Because these cities are the cities where we have more options of flights. So we can easily move bigger groups in these cities. And actually, these are the cities where we have bigger hotels as well. So I'm going to talk mainly about the cities where we can have MICE groups easily, okay? Rio de Janeiro is the most famous, the most visited city in Brazil. And, you know, we have the traditional visits, we have the Price the Redeemer, the Sugarloaf, the Copacabana Beach. But what we do for our groups is, of course, we have to have these traditional visits because it's a must. If you come to Rio, you have to go to the Price, you have to go to the Sugarloaf. But why not to add some really different things to make this special. And also one of the things that we really like to do is to have this cocktail at the top of the Sugarloaf so they can be there after visiting. They have their cocktail. Most of the times it's a surprise for them and they can have the drinks and while they see the sunset and it's really amazing. Here is a breakfast in the top of the Christ, the top of the Corcovado where the Christ the Redeemer is located. So we can have our groups there. They would be like the very first ones to get there. So they would have kind of a private place for that. And they would have this nice breakfast with an amazing view with this private Corcovado only for them. And here is like a picnic that we put together after visiting the Tijuca forest, because a visit to the Tijuca forest is really nice, but we always like to add some different details as I was telling you. So a picnic is always a good option to celebrate this visit. Here we have the visit to the Maracanã Stadium. Maracanã Stadium is the most famous stadium in Brazil, and for soccer lovers, it's really amazing. I have to tell you that our Polish groups, they Pretty much all of them really love to go to Maracanã, okay? And here what we have, of course, we have like the traditional visit where they go there, they see the lockers, they see the field, and they visit like the museum of the stadium. But what we suggest for our mice groups is they can have like a private match inside of Maracanã. They would have like a 30 minutes match at the side field of the Maracanã Stadium. So they really have a lot of fun and they feel like, wow, I played soccer in Maracanã, okay? And it's not the main field because of course to have the main field, it's really, really expensive. But to have this match in Maracanã, we can do this not very expensive. So it's a really special touch, but really unforgettable one. And here, just for you to understand, when we have like regular matches, we take our groups to watch the match, and they can be on regular seats, or we can take these private lounges for them. So they have these really comfortable ones with private catering, and it's really nice for VIP groups. And what we have here is some of really typical Brazilian experience, let's say. Here I have the caipirinha. Caipirinha is the most traditional drink in Brazil. It's made with lime, ice, sugar, and cachaça, with spirit, a liquor made with sugar cane, and it's delicious.
My personal favorite, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really nice, and the groups really
Very
love
refreshing.
it. Really refreshing. Yeah, it makes it makes totally sense to have this in Brazil, right? Because it combines with the weather and it's really nice. So caipirinha, what we can do with caipirinha, let's say, of course we can have like drinks and we can have like welcome drinks, caipirinha surprise. So while they're getting to their dinner or anything, but we can also make like caipirinha in a workshop. So we put the group together, they have, their glasses, they have their fruits, they have their cachaça, and they can make their own caipirinha. So they try the caipirinhas from their friends, then they try which is the best one. So this is really a nice activity. Again, I'm giving you lots of options. They are inexpensive ones. So we can give this really special touch to customize the program, but we do not have to add a lot of money on that. So we can make the program special, but very affordable price. So we can make the caipirinha surprise or a caipirinha workshop. Almost the same with capoeira. I mean, capoeira is this local dance fight. I mean, it's a really amazing presentation. People are like jumping around, flying around, and it's really impressive. And what we do with capoeira is, again, we can have like a surprise. So, I mean, they are, I don't know, getting to their dinner or getting to the hotel, so we can get these guys here and we have this presentation for them. Or we can take them to have these workshops. So they will learn some steps, they will play all together, and it's a lot of fun. And here we have the samba. Samba is, again, the most traditional dance and music in Brazil. And for samba, again, we can do as a surprise. So we can have a samba surprise. So the ladies would come and then the drummers, and then they would have like a small party for our group. Or we can take them to have the workshops. And these workshops, we usually to take them during the last day, because after that, they probably would have like a gala dinner or a farewell party or anything. So they could practice what they learned from the workshop there, and they really like that. And one of the activities that's a really success is this interaction with locals. We take our groups to play soccer and to play volley and to chill around, to have some really carioca time by the beach. Carioca are the people who were born in Rio, okay? So they are there, they have we can have like Polish team, Brazilian team, they can mix it up all together, they can have a lot of fun. So they can spend a really nice time by the beach with locals, really interaction, okay? It's not something that they feel like, okay, they put these because we are tourists and they are treating us as a tourist. No, they play soccer. Our Brazilian team try to win. It's not like we leave our guests to play and to defeat us. No, we really play real soccer, and they have a really, really, really nice time. And one touch that we do for some groups is while they are on the beach, we pass a plane with these, we can have like a welcome Santas, we can have the logo of the company. So they are there by the beach. So we have the plane passing, and they really feel like they're special having this plane welcoming there, or showing the logo of the company. It's really nice. And also in the field, I mean, here in the sand where we put together the field, we can of course put banners, we can put flags with brands and logos of the company. So it's a nice way to have the branding in a really relaxing day. Okay.
I remember we were having this with this big group, but the group was playing football inside the favelas. Do you remember?
Yes, we can also do this as well. This is one of the kind of interaction we do. The same, I mean, we have our groups playing soccer with locals, but instead of playing the beach, we had them playing inside of the favela, and this is a huge success as well. So yeah, we are so flexible. We can do like pretty much everything. So if you have any, we have lots of ideas. In case you have any other idea, we can just put together and make it happen. I have to tell you. And then, yes, they can have a.
And tell me, sorry for interrupting, but can you also emphasize one thing regarding the safety? Because I think it's the common question about Brazil and favelas. When you hear those two things, you think about safety. So how do you deal with this? And if you ever had any issues when you had mice groups or any groups or even individuals?
I come to this thing about being a huge country and huge city. Let's say Rio is huge. You know, we have over 6 million people in Rio, so it's a huge city. When we see things like, drug dealers and, all these things in the favela, they are not in the favelas that are closer to the tourist places. They're close to Copacabana, close to Ipanema. This is really far. I have to tell you my personal experience just to have an idea. I'm not from Rio. I mean, I live here for 20 years, but I'm from Teresópolis, which is a city like one and a half hour from Rio. Okay. Every time we have these kind of problems with, drug dealers and all these violent things that the media shows, my mother called me, Thais, what's happening? Oh my God, I'm seeing that things happen. I said, mother, it's not here. I mean, I'm in Copacabana. I'm not even close to that. I have no idea where is it. I have to tell you, it's not a place that I have ever been. I have no idea where is it. It's really far from where we are living, where our passengers passing. So it's complicated because I understand that what we see in the media, it makes us feel or think something. But when you are in a place, I think that most of you, I think that maybe you can give your comments on this as well. I don't know if you felt unsafe when you were in Rio, but I mean, the places where our tourists visit, the most amazing places in Rio, they're really safe. I mean, there might be pickpockets for sure, yeah, because we have these all over the world. If we are, in New York, in Paris, you have pickpockets. Yes, these happen. So we always tell our clients to make sure they will not walk around with jewelries, or they will not, being like sometimes they are on the beach, they leave their mobile phones and they go to swim. You do not do that. I mean, you keep your things together with you. You are in a big city, but it's not something that you see violent, you see like guns around, you see drug dealers, you do not. And actually inside of these favelas that we take our groups, of course, we take them to the places we know the people from the community, we help the community. Liberty has this collaboration with people from community. We had, when we had our office open to, what it was our high season till February, we had lots of people from the community working with us. We have lots of trainees from the community. So they help us, we teach them. So we have this exchange and we know exactly what happens there. And we know exactly how safe it is to take our groups. So we didn't have any problem. And we, of course, we'd only take our groups for the places we are really sure, we are really positive that we will have no problem at all. So yes, it's not a matter for us. Like the security issue is not a matter for us.
Yeah, okay. I think taking the basic measurements, like simply hiding stuff or not going around with your phone or flashy things or golden things outside, I think it's simply the things that you should do for your own safety. But in general, for me, it was very safe place. But I had a small feeling inside me that simply I need to take a look whether everything is fine all around me, because of the media which created the image of favelas, not safe places, and so on and so forth. So I would say I was on a small alert on that all the time, but in the end nothing bad happened. And from my groups as well, I have never heard any even small incident. So simply I can confirm what you are saying.
The media can be real cruel sometimes when they have a focus on something. They can, like, be saying this thing and this become a truth. But after all, sometimes, of course, I'm not telling that the media only lies or something like that, okay? I'm just saying that, sometimes it's really not exactly the truth. So it's nice when we have the chance to see with our eyes and understand how things really go. So what I have to tell you is, we really never had problems more than pickpockets with our groups. Sometimes we had, of course, we had a person, okay, they got my cell phone, they got, I don't know, my camera, but it's like, I don't know, we have thousands and thousands of passengers, and it's like one in a season or something. I mean that, so it's not a issue, I guarantee you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's just for you to have some ideas again that as I was telling you, here is huge. Copacabana and Ipanema, as some of you might know, for instance, these beaches around here, you can see it's very urban. So we see lots of buildings all around, but we have really kind of secret beaches. So we also take our mice groups there. Then we have like private barbecue, people chill around. We can have surf classes, and they can have a really nice time in some really unexplored beaches in Rio. And the paragliding is also a success for groups. For bigger groups, it's a bit complicated, but still 40 people, we are able to put together this activity for them, and they have a lot of fun. It's really an unforgettable experience for them. And here again, just for you to know some things for the more adventurous groups, that we have many options of hiking, climbing, everything. And of course, they have to put some effort on that, but after all, they have really some nice view. And then we get to Carnival. Yeah, Carnival is our main season, is the main party of our country, and it's really important for us. Carnival involves over, I don't know, 200,000 people. It's a huge party. And for the groups who have the chance to be here during the Carnival, we are able to do a lot of things to impress the group and to make their experience really amazing. Okay, so here is the parade, where we have these huge floats. Here, when we take our groups to the parade, we have some ways to put them into the experience. Okay, so they can go to the grandstand, which are like the regular seats. They already have like really nice view, and it's really nice. They can have these really private and comfortable luxury lounges. So they can have private catering for them only. They can have like a DJ, private party, and everything. There is these really closer cities, and they are really closer to the parade. And one of the things that's a huge success is when we take our group to take part of the carnival. So they actually parade with the samba school. They have their own costumes and everything. So they parade together with the samba schools. And I have to tell you that for the groups that we do that, most of the times they want to repeat. We have repeated groups that they parade once, and for the next year, they just want to do it again and again and again, because it's an experience, it's a lifetime experience. So these are some ways that we can enjoy the carnival and make our groups having this experience. And for the ones who are not here during the carnival, because carnival do not have like a fixed date, but it's around February or so. But during all the year, we have what we call carnival experience. This is a really nice experience. I have to tell you, it's really authentic, because we always avoid this kind of tourist traps where we take our groups and they feel like they are, oh my God, they feel like they think I'm a silly tourist. They're showing me things. We do not do that with our clients. What I'm telling you is this is a really really authentic experience. We take them to the backstage of the carnival, so they really see how these costumes are made. Just to let you know, these are all handmade. So during the carnival they made one by one like 50,000 or more costumes. It's something really impressive, and they make you. It's also handmade. These huge float, and they just go to this place where is the backstage where everything happens, and they take part of the experience even if it's not carnival. So they see everything, they understand how carnival happens, they have the chance to dress some costumes, they really have a nice time together. And again, here we can put this as a very inexpensive experience. This is a thing that we can do in a very affordable way, or we can add we can add the optionals on that. So it can be the simple visit, let's say, which is already really nice but really affordable, or we can add some workshops, so they can have like drums workshop, dance, caipirinha, all the workshops, and then prices would change a bit. But I mean, this is an experience that definitely worth to include in the program, and very affordable one. And again, just some small things that we always do when we are in Rio. Food is really, really good. I'm suspicious to say, but I have to tell you that meeting in Brazil is amazing. I would say better than Argentina. I know my colleagues wouldn't agree, but yes, our barbecue is great.
I was expecting this sentence.
All right. I have to say that I cannot lie to our friends here.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Argentinians cannot lie about their meat, right?
No, cannot. So here is just some samples of things. Of course, we always take our groups to some really nice restaurants. Again, I'm not talking here about specific restaurants, as I'm not talking about the specific hotels, but we always have to take them to the barbecue experience, because it's something they really expect to have, because it's, the food is, the barbecue in Brazil is really famous. And we also, of course, have some culinary experience. So if they want to, have to know the tastes of Brazil and everything, and they try to do that, we have the culinary classes. We have the nightclubs that we always take our groups to nightclubs to have some really good time. And here are just some examples again, because the seashore, the beach is really important for us. So we put together lots of activities by the beach. So we have like, relaxing lunch, some cocktails, some night cocktails, some breakfast by the beach. We of course can have parties on boats and everything related to the ocean. And here are just some examples of, gala dinners. Lots of our groups, although it's not carnival, they like to have the carnival decoration. Of course, it's not mandatory. We can have like classic decoration and, without masks and everything. But this is just for you to have an idea. This is the super modern museum, the Tomorrow Museum. So we have for some of our groups some cocktails over there, and it's really nice and fancy. They like that. We can put together a dinner inside of the aquarium in Rio. So we have some options for a gala dinner and to have this farewell dinner in a really nice way, okay? Okay, so this is what we had, something that we had about Rio, and now we're going to Iguazu Falls. Iguazu Falls, it's really impressive. The falls itself are really, really impressive. The city is too small, and I have to tell you that pretty much there's not a lot to do beside of the falls. I mean, pretty much all the attractions would run around the falls, but it's enough, I have to tell you, because the falls are really, really impressive. So the nature over there is something that, are the biggest natural parks we have here. So you see, you have all the trees, we have lots of animals, so people really feel the nature in a really special way. And like I was telling you, the regular visit is already a surprise for them, because I don't know if they can find like a more beautiful falls anywhere in the world. It's really, really, really impressive and amazing. So they have these catwalks that take them really close to the falls. So the experience is really nice. And we have the Itaipu Dam, which is the second biggest dam in the world. And what I was telling you about the small tweaks that we do is, of course, this is the boat ride, which is a must. Most of our groups really love to do that. They really get into the water, they get all wet, and they have a lot of fun. We, of course, can have the boat for our group only in a private way. The helicopter flight, the panoramic flight is amazing. We can do this for big groups. You know, we already had like 80 people groups flying, having the helicopter ride. Of course, we have to do this in shifts, but it works really well because it's a 10 minutes flight, but it's a breathtaking one. And what we do to celebrate and to have this special touch for our groups, we put together a cocktail by the fall. So can you believe it? How amazing is that? To have like a cocktail by the fall, seeing this rainbow is always there, okay? So it's amazing because they really feel like, wow, I have the rainbow for me. And yes, they have this cocktail with this view. This is really impressive. And one of the things that we do when we can combine the date, of course, is this full moon walk. So we take our groups during the evening during the nighttime to the park. So they have all this walk. It's amazing because it's nighttime, but everything's so bright because the moon is so amazing. And the experience is unforgettable. I did it once and I have to tell you, it's really, really, really special.
But the waterfalls are not lit up by the artificial light. It's just the moonlight, right?
Yeah, just the moonlight. Pretty much like this picture here. I mean, it's really dark, but you have like the moon riding that. So it's really, really, really nice. And one of the dinners that we suggest in Iguazu, not specific, as I'm telling you, I'm not talking about specific restaurants, but this one is located in a place where is the three borders, because Iguazu is where we have the border with Argentina and Paraguay. So you can have a dinner or you can have a lunch, but in this case, I'm just talking about dinner. You can have a dinner in this place where you can see three countries in the same place. So it's quite nice to have lunch, to have dinner and seeing three different countries at the same time with this cozy decoration. We, of course, can add some entertainment. We can play some music here and they can have some really nice time. And in these different and special place that it's not everywhere you can find a triple C from border, okay? And now we're getting to Salvador. And Salvador, it's really something like visiting another country inside Brazil, because I have to say the atmosphere of the place is amazing. I mean, it's a melting pot of cultures and there's a lot of African influence in everything. The architecture, you can see everything so colorful, okay? The smell of the city, I mean, the food and everything is so special. And when you combine Salvador with any other city, it's so nice because you have such a different thing in the same program. They really feel like they're seeing two different Brazil in the same program. So it's a really nice combination. As I was telling you, we have a lot of influence from the African in Salvador. And one of the activities that we really love to have for our groups is, okay, we have like the regular city tour. Okay, here is like the historical city center. Okay, so they are visiting the city center and then they go to have lunch because these are restaurants. Okay, so after having the dessert, they are there and then they start to listen to some music and they start to listen to something and they say, oh, what's going on? I'm listening to something. So they come to this big window to see, and there is like this big band down playing. And they start to invite our group to join that. So our group join the band and they go parading all together like a big band, you know. So our group is playing together with locals and they have all this big carnival together. We can do this all the year, so it's not only during the carnival. Actually, during the carnival, it's not possible because this place is full of parties. But for all the other times, we have our groups having their party, and it's nice because they're playing, and the locals, not only the people from the band, but people from the streets, they start to join that, and they have a huge party all together. And I have to tell you, this is really amazing. They love that, and we love to have this activity with our groups. And again, we have here the capoeira. I'm just repeating that because capoeira is really strong in Rio and Salvador. So in Salvador, again, it's always nice to have this capoeira surprise where we have the guys welcoming them or doing, you know, workshops with them, showing them some steps. And these are some of the activities we have in Salvador.
Salvador is around 2 hours flight from Rio.
Yes, exactly. About 2 hours flight from Rio, exactly. So here we have these ladies. These ladies are called the baianas, okay? They're a really important part of the culture there. They are all dressed in white because this is homage of an Afro-Brazilian religion called candomblé, okay? This is really strong in Brazil, although Brazil is a Catholic country, most of the country. But in Salvador, all the religion, actually in all Brazil, we do not have problems with religions, but I mean, in Salvador, both religions like go really well together. So these ladies, they're found in in all the corners of Bahia. So they sell acarajé, which is the street. It's a mix of black eyed peas, shrimp, spices, and everything. And so this is one of the details that we like to add to our groups. Is to have the baianas welcoming there, so they can have these bracelets. So they put in the arms of our guests as a welcome bracelet, or they can serve some treats while they are arriving. It's they really feel like warm welcome in the place. Here is a place 1.5 hours from Salvador. It's called Praia do Forte. Okay. I'm showing you this place because this is where the big resorts are located. So here in this place, we have, let's say, the Grand Palladium, the Iberostar, the Villa Galé. So we have some resorts here. And the place is really nice. We have the most important project of sea turtle conservation. And it's a really mix of nature and relaxing resorts. So I'm not showing you the resorts here, but what we do a lot is a combination of Salvador as a city, let's say the city program, and then we have some relaxing days by the beach. So we take our groups because it's only 1.5 hours, by road with a bus, and then they can have these two destinations together. So they have like some days in the city, and then they go to Praia do Forte to spend some relaxing days in one of the resorts. Okay. Here's just some pictures of the really amazing food in Bahia, and it's something that you really have to try once. If you have the chance, it's so tasty, yes. Then we get to Amazon, okay. Manaus is the main city where the airport is located. So in Manaus, we have the Opera House and some really interesting points that we can have, of course, a city tour upon arrival or departure from the forest, okay? What is important to understand about our experience in Amazon is, again, I'm talking about this again, but it's because for us it's very important. We handle the visit here in a very, very, very authentic way, okay? So we really avoid any kind of tourist trap. We do not take our groups to these places where they will just feel like things are made for them or anything. We take them to really interact with locals, to interact with the animals of course, in a very respectful way, okay? So this is what we propose to all of our groups. We make sure that they will have an amazing time, but in a very, very authentic way. So they will learn, from the locals how to live in a forest. I mean, how to use the trees and the plants and the things to survive, and all the experience they can do in the forest, but this in a very authentic and respectful way. And some activities that we also like to do for our groups is to take them to these really nice caves. Of course, they will see these kind of trees that just show us how small we are comparing to the nature, and it's really impressive. We take them to like acai, the acai berry. It's Amazonian fruit, so we take them to have kind of tasting. And one of the success they really like to do is the piranha fishing. So we take them for piranha fishing, and after all, they can have some tasting. They can try the piranha fish. It has a lot of bones, so you have like to make lots of small cuts on that to make sure you won't take any bone. But people like to, try the piranha because, it's a famous, it's a famous fish. And in Amazon, the options of accommodation are the lodges, which I'm not showing you here. But just to have an idea, we also have the accommodation on these boats. And for the accommodation on the boat, it's important to understand that we have from the really like smaller ones, then we can privatize for our groups. And we have also like the bigger ones, like the Iberostar with 70 cabins. So we have options of accommodations for the groups. And then we get to Sao Paulo. Sao Paulo is not a very, very tourist place, but this is the economic heart of Brazil, okay? And this is where most of the flights have the better connection. So we have lots of groups in Sao Paulo for congresses because this is the place where most of the most important congress in Brazil take place. But also when we have groups with flight connection that need to overnight there, we have, of course, some really nice options because it's a cosmopolitan city, it's a huge city, it's something that it's worth the visit after all, you know. So here are just like a really few samples of what we do with our groups that spend the night there. We take them, you know, to see the street art. We take them to have some, to try some local coffee, to have this coffee tasting because Brazil is like the biggest producer, so we have some really nice coffee. We take them to this market where they can have some local treats. And one of the things that we really like to do is the fruit tasting. And I'll tell you why the fruit tasting is so nice, because they have the chance, of course, to try fruits they have never seen before. So this is really nice. But the nicest thing is when they try the fruit they already know. Because you know the papaya, you know mango, you know everything. Yes, but when you try this one here, it's so different. The taste is so different. So they get really impressed. Wow, I know this fruit. How come the taste is so different from what I know? So always this fruit tasting is a really nice experience that we really like to do with our groups, and we have really amazing feedbacks on that. Again, an expensive one because of course we pay a fee to try lots of fruits, but you know it's a fruit price, so not expensive. So we can have this experience with them. They have a lot of fun. They get really impressed, and you know, really affordable experience. So it's a nice one of the nice things that we like to do for our groups in São Paulo. Okay. And São Paulo is the place where the F1 race takes place in Brazil. So every time during the F1 race, we have lots of groups there because, you know, the companies, they take our groups to the race. And we have lots of options of team building. And of course, we can run this during all the year, not only during the F1 race, but it's an important event of the city. It's when it's pretty much like the higher season for São Paulo, okay? And yes, these were like the main cities, as I was telling you, the cities where we have more options of flights, so we can really easily move bigger groups because we have lots of options of flights and also lots of options of accommodation, you know, from really affordable one. Since we have like nice 4 stars as well that sometimes we can use, and of course we have lots of options of 4 or 5 stars for our groups in all of the cities that I have mentioned before. And now I'm just going to really quickly show you some more about Brazil. But for these things that I'm showing here, we are not considering a lot for bigger groups because, you know, all the transportation, everything is a bit more rustic. So we consider for groups till 20 people. And it's it's impressive because it's really different from everything they see. We have one thing that we call the Road of Emotions, and it's an impressive off-road trip because they will cross 3 streets by the beach, so all the way is by the beach. They will pretty much see all the beaches that are always in the top, on the ranking of the top most beautiful beaches in the world. So you really see these unexplored places, and it's one of the places on Earth you really feel special. You feel the real contact with the nature. It's really amazing. And here it's what we call Lençóis Maranhenses. It's amazing because it's a sand park, but during the rainy season, you know, all these crystal clear lakes come. And so we have our groups there. The panoramic flight is amazing. They can have the time, of course, they can swim around everything here, and they really feel like they are out of Earth because it really seems like you are in another planet. I have to tell you, it's really impressive, and everything here is so rustic. Anything here is so exotic. Local people are so friendly, so it's a really special place to go. But like I was telling you, not for big groups. Okay. Here's again some more samples about historical cities because we really have some really preserved cities in Brazil. For instance, Paraty these ones here, from these pictures here, it's located about 3 hours from Rio. It's in between Rio and Sao Paulo. So sometimes when we have groups, let's say arriving in Sao Paulo, with a flight in Sao Paulo, and they're going to Rio, and if you do not want to take a flight, you can go by road, and you can have a stop in Paraty, which is the city, really different one, really cozy one, really charming city, and they can spend the night here and then continue to Rio, for instance. Okay. And again, just a short mention to Pantanal, because this is the place, this is the richest wildlife landscape in Brazil, where we can find these jaguars, we can find like caves with crystal clear water. So, I mean, really, really amazing place. And always when we have groups looking for, you know, nature, really specific things, Pantanal is one of the places that we tend to suggest to them, and it's really, really unforgettable experience. Okay. And yeah, this is what I had for you today. Let me just
Very nice. And then one question from my side, because you didn't mention the capital city, Brasilia. So it's nothing that much interesting there, or?
Brasilia is all about, not all about, but I mean a lot about architecture. Okay, so we have already had many groups, architects group going there, because this is what they look for, because, you know, it was built by really famous architecture. So people, you know, really focus on that. It's a must. They must go, you know. So Brasilia is a must for architecture lovers. It's a must. For you know, tourist people, I mean, general ones, the city is really, really beautiful, but it's a city, let's say. Most of the people, when they come to Brazil, they like to combine this thing of nature and, you know, culture and everything. And Brasilia is more about architecture, I have to tell you. So we have groups there because, like I'm telling you, for this interesting, but on the other hand, it's a hub of flights as well. So sometimes when our groups are going to Manaus, let's say to the Amazon, they, depending on the flight, sometimes they have to overnight in Brasilia. So when they overnight there, of course, we take them to this nice city tour with local architectures and everything. But this is pretty much what the city is about. It's really nice, but it has more specific interesting over there than general tourists. I think we miss Michael. Michal, just okay. So I'm not sure if Michal will be back with us. He's probably had some problem with the connection. I would like to tell you that it was really nice for me to have the chance to talk about Brazil. We are really proud of our country. We know we have problems, like you know, but as a family, we always like tend to be really proud of our. Oh, hi, Michal. We missed you for a while, right? I cannot hear you. I'm not sure.
Now?
Yeah, now I can.
Works. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I got disconnected, guys. But
Yeah.
I guess you answered the question about Brasilia.
Yeah, so I was just telling you what I was telling you before, that Brazil is really nice, but has a really more specific interesting. So most of the groups that we take there, they have these specific interesting architecture.
Sure, sure. Sylvia said that please keep us informed about opening the borders. So for sure we will make the newsletters and we will send it to you when we get any additional and new information. So for now, I think we are about to finish. Let us know if you have any questions at the moment. If not, you can contact me or Thais directly. I can give you the email, or you can contact me and I will redirect all the questions. So I hope you liked it. Whenever you need anything from our side, you know where we are. So to sum it up, as I told you, it's our last webinar regarding South America. So now we will be moving all around the world. We already introduced, I think today or tomorrow, I will send you an email regarding the Liberty Destination webinars. So you can find all the links, when and where are we going to meet. All the links will be on the Microsoft, conducted on the Microsoft platform with all of our offices. So soon, I think today we are starting with Mexico. So if you need a link to this webinar, please let me know. I think it's about to start in 10 minutes. And then we are going to Hungary, Baltic states, Ukraine, Adriatics, Bulgaria, Cyprus and Greece. So I think something for sure interesting for you. If not all, maybe you will pick one or two webinars. I will send you the link so you will see all the possibilities that we have. So whenever you have any questions, let us know. It was great to meet you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Thais, for the great presentation. And we keep in touch, right?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your time. It was really nice to be here. Thank you, Michal, for an opportunity to have all of us here together. And yeah, hope to see you in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Take care.